Hey, it's Felice, totally awake, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, then welcome. Now, today I wanted to talk about governing body update number 9. So let's get right into it.
Welcome, everyone. In this update, I thought we might reflect on Jehovah's goodness and the way he's been guiding his people during the pandemic. I'm sure we all agree with the words of the psalmist, found at Psalm 27 and verse 13. Where would I be if I did not have faith that I would see Jehovah's goodness in the land of the living? Where would I be? That's something to think about, isn't it? How grateful we are to be associated with Jehovah's organization and to benefit from its direction and guidance, especially when we see where we could be in the confused and divided world around us.
Okay, first and foremost, it's not Jehovah's organization. Ugh, that just makes me cringe every time they say it. Blasphemy, okay? Blasphemy is what I call that. When you're calling that cult organization Jehovah's organization, maybe your Jehovah, okay? Second, you see how slick they are? Where would I be? Where would I be? Just trying to make it seem like they would just be lost and hopeless if they weren't a part of this organization. You'd be okay. You'd probably be home. Or you'd probably be out, fulfilling your wildest dreams and, reaching success and prospering, at the highest levels that you never knew that you could. Many people that have left can attest that they're okay and they're just home. That home may look different than how it looked when you were a witness, but they're okay.
With your eyes of faith, do you see Jehovah as directing his people today?
No. And furthermore, you look silly looking up like that.
Now, we know he's interested in our spiritual well-being. But what about our physical well-being, our health? Does he care
I don't know, child. He be letting people refuse life-saving blood transfusions because of his teachings and his petty ways, child.
He says, I will give you insight and instruct you in the way you should go. I will give you advice with my eye upon you. So here's a promise that Jehovah will give us the advice we need. But advice on what subject? Think back to the days of Israel.
Why he
He
had to do
instructed
his
the
hand
Israelites
like
to
that?
quarantine the sick. He told them not to eat unclean birds and animals because doing so could have been harmful for their health. And he insisted that they build a parapet around the flat roof of their homes so no one would fall off. Jehovah hasn't changed. He still cares about the health and safety of his people. Now, in the psalm we just read, he promised to give us insight, instruction, and advice. How does he do that today? He does it by means of his organization.
Oh, brother.
In some countries, there's been considerable confusion and disagreement over how to deal with the pandemic. Some chafe at the idea of wearing masks, and they refuse to practice physical distancing, even when these precautions are required. We're reminded of Paul's words at 1 Corinthians 14:33. Remember that one? God is not a God of disorder, but of peace, the Bible says. The disorder we see in the world is proof positive that Jehovah is not with them. But from Jehovah's organization, we've had clear direction from the very beginning.
So David Blaine wants to convince us that, Jehovah is working through the organization to give clear direction regarding the pandemic and what steps we should take. He wants to convince us that Jehovah cares because look how he's been guiding direction through his organization from the very beginning. Well, David explained, what is the very beginning? Things didn't start shutting down until March. From what I've seen, you shut down behind other major corporations. Also, if we want to talk about the beginning is when the virus first broke out in Wuhan. That was back in December. I knew about that then. So, and the reason why I knew about that is because, I love YouTube and, I'm a tea sipper. I watch a Lovely Tea and she be talking about all kind of stuff. And I was watching one of her videos back in December where she was one of the first people to talk about how this virus had broke out in Wuhan. I remember telling my husband back then, wow, because they were shutting down then. And I remember telling my husband, like, if they don't get a cap on this and this come over, and start spreading everywhere and get over here to the U.S., it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be like a movie, like we never seen. And sure enough, it's been like a movie, like we never seen. We haven't seen it in our generation, but it has indeed, happened before. So why didn't they know about this? Why couldn't they start taking precautions and making, why couldn't that have been the beginning? Why couldn't they get some type of heads up? Because everybody didn't know about it and wasn't talking about it back then. But I feel like, why couldn't they sip some tea? Why didn't Jehovah have them sipping some tea for his organization so they can know and have a heads up that this thing has already broke out and is more than likely about to spread?
For example, think of the information we've received through recent governing body updates. This is evidence of Jehovah's loving direction, his goodness. In last month's update, Brother Lett made a very important point. He reminded us that the information we're receiving regarding the pandemic is prepared by faithful brothers. We can trust them. They aren't motivated by some personal view or political agenda. They love us. They want the best for us.
David explained, you want people to believe that the brothers in your organization, like the governing body, you want people to believe that they love us or that they love them, because I ain't with them no more, okay? I'm out. But you want them to believe that they're loved. Why would they believe that they're loved? They don't even know them, okay? I love when Coach D Free always brings that point up. They don't even know you. Furthermore, you want us to believe that we can trust these men that we find at the liquor store, that we find lying under oath.
Now, does the governing body, or do the members of the governing body, do you see yourselves as modern-day disciples, the modern-day equivalent of Jesus' disciples?
We certainly hope to follow Jesus and be his disciples.
And do you see yourselves as Jehovah God's spokespeople on earth?
That, I think, would seem to be quite presumptuous.
And that we find calling people out their names, calling people poison, and telling the organization that Satan is these people's father that lead.
Satan is behind the twisted teachings of apostates. He's the father of the lie. And those who lie are doing exactly what their father does.
Just because they find out about all the abuse and scandals and court payouts and all of these things that they've been lied to about. And you mean to tell me these men can be trusted? Please.
I hear someone ask, what do they know? Wrong question. I think the right question is, what does Jehovah know?
No, they had the right question the first time. What do they know? Should have been asking, who are they? you know? But now you want to say, what do Jehovah know? That's the right question. So how we going to switch it from what do they know? And you going to tell me that's the wrong question. Now you want to switch it to the right question. So you say, what does Jehovah know? Well, what does Jehovah know? What did Jehovah say? Because you talked to him. I know y'all talked to him, right? Because y'all know what he know. Y'all know what he said then, right?
Hold on, everybody. Jehovah's calling.
Yeah, man. How y'all doing? Normally I usually don't do this, but I'm calling you guys today to let you guys know. Let everybody know to go ahead and get vaccinated. Go ahead and just let them know to go do that so we can just keep the party going. I see everybody in the hall vaccinated. Make sure you get that agenda out. Okay? All right. Now, normally I don't do this, but y'all special. So go ahead and get that out.
Now, that sounds silly, doesn't it? Shouts out to my hubby for that. But that's what they want us to believe. That's what they're trying to feed to us, y'all.
It comes down to this, friends. Do I really believe that Jehovah is directing this organization today?
Should I believe that Jehovah is directing this organization today? What proof is there is the question.
Do I believe that Jehovah will give insight to his faithful people? Does God really care? Would Jehovah allow the governing body, the helpers, missionaries, a huge percentage of the worldwide Bethel family, and other full-time servants to engage in practices or receive a COVID-19 vaccine that would be harmful? Surely, Jehovah wants the brothers at world headquarters to continue providing spiritual food. We are convinced that Jehovah cares about the health and safety of his people, and that he will guide us, saying in effect, "This is the way. Walk in it, you people."
You're convinced, David Splain, and I really don't think you convinced for real, okay? You're trying to convince the audience that because all of these people at Bethel, at the headquarters took the vaccine, that you have Jehovah's blessing over the vaccine and it's not harmful and, it's not going to hurt anyone. But you're leaving out the people that may have medical issues that may prevent them from taking the vaccination for their different medical issues. Or you're forgetting the people that actually may be allergic to vaccinations or may have even tried to take the first shot and had an allergic reaction and realized they couldn't take the second shot. So for you to just make it seem like because all of these other people have taken it, that it's safe for everyone, I think that's kind of irresponsible. I think that everybody should definitely do what's right for them and their medical needs. So if that means getting the vaccination, definitely you want to do that. And if they can't, then they definitely want to make sure that they keep on their mask or, whatever the case may be in their area.
Has Jehovah blessed our efforts during this pandemic? Yes, indeed. While, of course, the pandemic has slowed activities for many of our brothers, especially in areas without good internet connections.
And if they don't have good internet connection, then where do they stand with Jehovah?
At our virtual congregation meetings. Inactive ones are returning to Jehovah, and how we thank God for that. Our memorial attendance for 2021 reached an all-time peak of 21,367,603.
Now, y'all know y'all scared and fear-mongered them people into returning to Jehovah and attending the memorial. Let's just see if you reach those kind of numbers next year in 2022. I bet you don't.
We commend you most warmly. Who can deny that Jehovah is blessing your work? And consider what the Bethel family has been able to accomplish during the pandemic, only with Jehovah's blessing. We all appreciate our beautiful new publication, Enjoy Life Forever. That was a tremendous amount of work, involving hundreds of hours of overtime. But that's not all it was
accomplished during the pandemic. What about the monthly broadcasts? We never missed one. Then there are the beautiful videos, our regional conventions, the Gilead graduations, and the annual meetings. All of this was possible because the Bethel family stayed healthy.
Hundreds of us live together, work together, eat together, share the same surfaces day in and day out. So many brothers and sisters have concluded that what works for the Bethel family is likely to work for them. And now, we're moving into another phase of the pandemic. Wasn't it exciting to see the recent JW News article about the pilot program to resume in-person congregation meetings in selected lands? It's been a long time since we've been able to be together in person. You might be wondering, what led up to the pilot program?
Okay, this is when the update got kind of emotional for me, and I just started to kind of break down in tears because I just felt so sorry, for all of the families still stuck in the cult. They're being lied to, and David Splain is up there talking to them as he would a child that he's trying to convince that their vegetables are good. They were supposed to be looking forward to paradise. When the pandemic began, you told them, Stephen Lett got on jw.org and made a video, and it was saying that it was the last of the last days, of the last second.
So the events unfolding around us are making clearer than ever that we're living in the final part of the last days, undoubtedly the final part of the final part of the last days, shortly before the last day of the last days.
Oh, and let's not forget, Anthony Morris said this at the start of the pandemic.
As I told the brothers in the coordinators committee office, when we're facing these disasters and all these things, and I've been telling them for some time now, cheer up, it's going to get worse. And so we keep a sense of humor with it, but that's a fact. What we're experiencing right now in this global pandemic, I was telling the branch class yesterday, it doesn't bother me. We've been waiting for this. We knew things like this were going to happen. Christ Jesus has prepared us. Where's the shock? Now you got to think.
So now you want to try to get them hyped up because paradise hasn't come. So you want to try to get them hyped up about going back to the meeting. When no, that's not anything to be excited about. Those people were comfortable in their homes waiting for paradise. They didn't think that they would be going back to the meeting. That's nothing to be excited about. I don't want the broccoli. You still ain't put no cheese on it. Okay? I don't want that. No.
Governing body committees have been prayerfully evaluating when and how to resume in-person meetings safely. Earlier this year, it didn't seem to be the right time to start. Vaccines weren't available in many lands. Infection rates were high, and the Delta variant was rapidly spreading. But in September, the situation started to appear more hopeful, at least in some areas of the world. In October, 17 branches were approved to participate in a pilot program to resume in-person congregation meetings. As of November 8th, 14 branches have already held their first meetings. As you can imagine, our brothers and sisters were overjoyed to meet together again. Let's hear from a few of them.
When it was announced at the midweek meeting that our congregation had been invited to hold in-person meetings as part of a project, I was so happy that I jumped out of my chair for joy. It was a tremendous emotion.
Couldn't believe it, that it was actually happening. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're coming back. And We walk in the hall and you're like, these are all my brothers and sisters and we're all together. You just felt like you're at home.
Being back at the meetings, I feel like the fire is burning in my heart because of happiness.
It really felt good. It was lovely to see the brothers and sisters coming into the entranceway and to greet them. It was so great.
I wanted to go and give somebody a very big hug, but since I couldn't, I would go to mom and dad and hug them and say, this is for this person.
Being able to be at the Kingdom Hall, I had to pinch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming.
I bet you had to pinch yourself. This is unbelievable. You thought you'd be in paradise, not going back to the hall. This is BS.
Friends, hugging them. It was really an indescribable feeling.
If you'd like to take your seats, we'll get our meeting underway.
To hear the singing, even with the masks on, it was really encouraging.
I love the singing. I think everyone got better over the 18 months we all got to practice. It was beautiful.
Being able to stretch my hand again, we all in our congregation were delighted to be part of it.
Being at home is more comfortable, but you can be distracted by any little thing. But being here is much better because we pay more attention to the meetings.
I was baptized in 2020 during the regional convention.
All right, guys, so I really didn't want to leave all of this footage in the video of theirs because a lot of us in the Exjw community have already seen this foolishness. But I did leave a lot of the footage from jw.org because I just wanted to emphasize for the people that may not have seen it just how much, you know, this organization is hyping up going back to the hall and just, you know, how emotional this video is.
Loyally attending, and that actually was a very encouraging experience.
And you got these people crying, you know, wiping their tears. I mean, they have on their masks, but they're still hugging. They're not social distancing after he just talked about the world and how they're divided because they don't want to social distance and wear masks. But then you got people hugging and not social distancing in your videos, which letting other people know, like, it's okay to do it, even though the little boy earlier in the video was just saying how he be wanting to hug people, but he just hug his parents, him and his sister, in order just to continue social distancing. But then they just contradicting themselves by showing people that hug. Which one you want them to do, Splain? Because you confusing people in these videos. Y'all don't even care these days. Y'all just contradict yourself in the same video. Like, whatever, just put it out. It'll be all right. And they still be following blindly, thinking y'all the truth. Like, can't y'all see how flawed this is? Come on. Do you think that Jehovah would be sending this type of mixed signal in the same video? Oh, don't hug nobody. Oh, okay, hug people. Social distance, don't social distance. Which one is it? It's not exciting going back to the meeting. People wanted paradise to come by now. Come on. You've been talking about it and 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 talking about it.